Hello everybody, welcome back to Astral Jewels. I hope you've had a great week. I'm just about to go through what is happening for August in terms of planetary forces. So I'll add to the stream. Okay, first slide. Okay, so what we've got going on, there's quite a lot of intensity going on for the rest of the year. So I'm just going to focus on August for the time being. Now, firstly, we've got Jupiter conjunct Uranus, and it's in Aries. Now, remember, I'm a sidereal astrologer, not a tropical astrologer. So sidereal is in line with the sky. So this is what's going on above your heads, okay? So Jupiter conjunct Uranus, and it's in Aries. And this is a really volatile energy, guys. Think of, the Uranus force. We've got things that are firstly for humanitarian causes, which is what high mode Uranus is about. But we've also got things like breaking limits, breaking rules, changing rules. It's a force where expect surprises. It's really a fiery type of force here. And when Jupiter comes in with Uranus, well, expect surprises. It's party time. It really is a buoyant, full-on force when you combine these two together. So just be aware of volatility. And, you know, with Uranus, you've got Uranus and Jupiter. There's an expansion that's going to happen with both of these planets at the same time. So with Jupiter also, you've got the Sun squared Jupiter, Uranus trine Pluto, Uranus sextile Neptune, and Neptune sextile Pluto. So this is really a strong force that's going on. And it's not until the 14th of August do we have Sun squaring Uranus. So Uranus is a big player at the moment with what is going on. So yeah, just be aware. This is a very awakening period of time, and you should be able to feel this quite strongly yourself as things go on. Okay. Next, I'm going to go through what I wanted to look at here was Chiron. I think last week we spoke about the T-square of Pluto, T-square the north and south node. Now the nodes is the axis of destiny. Now we've got Chiron here. Now I've included Chiron. Chiron is not a planet, it's an asteroid. But considering what's going on a global level, I felt it was really important to include Chiron in this reading. So Chiron is conjunct the north node and is squaring Pluto. And Chiron, it's all about the wound. It's the wounded healer. So there's something significant here with the axis of destiny, the north-south node, and it's squaring to Pluto. So the nodes and Pluto, it's almost like this axis of destiny is being held in a vice type feeling. Now with Chiron here, there is definitely a focus towards the wound and the healing of the wound. So whatever is, you know, we know on one level that the planet is wounded. So it's definitely going to have an impact on some form of healing as it does. So we can talk about wounds until the cows come home, but ultimately what we're looking at is the healing part of this wound. So something is really going to something's really happening in terms of this healing when you've got Chiron conjunct the north node. Okay, so this T-square is going to be in place until early 2024. And as we know, there is a lot of transformation going on, and Pluto is still, it's only, I know it's 4 or 5 degrees Capricorn. So this major foundational transformation is occurring, and Chiron appears to be part of that healing. Okay, so notice also Chiron is in retrograde. So that's adding to an intensity of that Chiron force. Chiron is also trine Venus, and that is softening it somewhat. And when you look at Venus from its higher mode, there's way more to the forces than it's not shallow. I'd like to take Venus on its highest mode, and we're talking about the love of the gods, effectively. The intensity feeling of Venus on higher mode it's basically about unconditional love. Now, I'll be doing a big expose on Venus next week for my live on that will be on the FCB channel. Okay, so going further into what's going on. So we're back to the Venus, and look at what's going on here. We've got this cluster of Mars, Mercury, and Venus, and we've got Venus square Uranus. I think Uranus is going to be a major player for what goes on for the remainder of this year, particularly. And Venus being in that angle with Uranus, so Venus square Uranus, I think it is going to soften somewhat, or put the intention of something more high in terms of like the Venusian energy in here. To me, it feels like it's going to soften the volatility of what is actually going on. So we spoke about this before. The Mars and Mercury Venus is opposite Saturn, and that cluster is in Leo. Now, what's going on here? You're getting a lot of lessons in terms of your community and your groups with the Saturn energy there. So look at what is going on in terms of your environment, your community, the friends that you align to, friends that your friendships, and what's going on in terms of your friendships. There are lessons going on here. What is it that you're learning? Particularly in the last 3 years, what's been going on? You have time now to reflect on what is your position, what is your relationship with the communities that you are around, and what do you want to change those relationships? Do they serve you? Is it what you are looking for? And this Venus energy, particularly opposite this Saturn, and of course Venus being square the Uranus, it is a good opportunity to look at whether you need to change your social environment, and this is a good time to do that. Okay, so Mars is also trine Jupiter. So Mars is going to give a bit more oomph to the Uranus-Jupiter conjunction, which is in Aries. Now remember, that is in Aries in the sidereal model. So that's a strong force. Now it won't be long before Mars is out of Leo, and same with Mercury. Venus is going to go retrograde, and it will go back into Cancer for a little while before it goes back into the Leo force. Okay, so the Sun in Leo, it happens from the 17th of August to the 16th of September. Okay, so currently Leo is in Cancer, and the sun in Leo, this gives you a major opportunity to look at, excuse me, to look at your own, where you shine in the world. Are you shining? Your heartness, do you apply this heartness to yourself? Courage, do you need courage to be able to shine? Are you shining in the world? This is a good opportunity to really, under the tropical system, they're saying that Leo is already, the sun is already in Leo. It isn't. It's about to happen. So this is a prelude. Let this period of time right now be that time where you reflect on where you want to be in your life. Do you shine? Do you have enough fun in your life? Is there enough heart in your life? Heartness. And are you applying this heart to yourself? It's self-love. Do you love yourself? So what does that look like in your life? And if you have to make changes, now is the time to reflect and, ride this force of the sun from the 17th of August onwards to the 16th of September. That would be an actual good use of this force. Now, also what we've got, do we have, was there an angle? Just bear with me for a second. Sun is going to square Uranus on the 14th of August. So as I've said, I think Uranus is going to play a massive role in what goes on in the next 6 months particularly. So when the sun focuses on anything, it puts more light to it. Okay, so when that squares that Uranus force, and Uranus is conjunct Jupiter, it's really going to dynamize that Uranus force as well. So watch out what happens. Just bear in mind it could happen beforehand and even after the 19th. But anything from the 14th to the 19th of August, just see what happens. Just see what occurs that reflects those forces. Will be really interesting to see. Now, moving on to the moon. Now, we've just had the full moon on the 2nd of August. That was in Capricorn. It's in Capricorn. It is not in Aquarius. Capricorn in the sidereal model. We've got the new moon coming on the 16th of August. And with the new moon, as you know, it's a time to start new projects. So use this phase to test your courage, your heartness, and what does this mean to you? As I said, are you shining in the world? Do you need to bring your heart out more and more? Do you have enough fun in life? And if not, why not? And what are you going to do to change that? Okay, so this is a good period to get something planned. Do you need to step out? Do you need to overcome fears? Leo is about courage as well. So use that force to get the courage. If you need to, take baby steps to overcome fears, those things that are blocking you, and move into this phase of I can do, I will do, and seek this happiness and joy that is there and it's available to you. Look for the heartness, and of course, love yourself first. If you can't love yourself, it's very difficult to love anyone else, right? Now, we've also got the second full moon in Leo, which is called a blue moon. So whenever there is 2 full moons in a month, they call the second moon a blue moon. That's really all it is. There's a lot of romanticism about blue moons. They made songs about it, but ultimately that's what it is. There's 13 cycles of the moon. They've got to put that extra full moon somewhere, and that was what they call a blue moon. Okay, so it's great that it's in the sign of Leo, because there's some form of reflection that takes place here with this full moon. So use the force, use that force of the fullness of the moon. When there's a fullness of the moon, it's when there is a climax happening. So I hope you've used the new moon to make plans for what are you going to do to start moving forward, and use heartness and courage, and you'll have that climax of what happens at the end of August, or during this blue moon, which is on the 30th of August. Now that happens cyclically, and of course you don't want to just say, well, I've done it and I'm finished. When it comes to things like courage and heartness and self-love and unconditional love towards yourself, that is a lifelong journey. So if you're not doing it, use this time to start the project, start doing it. Okay? So good luck with that, with the Leo force, with the Sun force. Okay, so just to recap, guys, of the retrogrades, there's a lot of planets that are retrograde. So here we are in August, and we've got, starting on the 23rd, we'll have a Mercury retrograde. So just watch that. Take a note of this printout if you like, and stick it on your fridge or have it handy so you know when these forces are occurring. So yeah, the 23rd of August is when the Mercury retrograde. Don't start anything, any new projects at that time. Hopefully you've already got it planned and you can still proceed with that, but don't start anything new. It's a time for cleaning out the filing cabinet. Now we've got Venus is retrograde right now, and will be until the 4th of September. Now that's a period of time where you can reflect inwardly on your own attitude towards your own self. As I say, heartness towards yourself, love towards yourself. When a planet goes retrograde, it's a reflective period. And Venus, this is significant with Venus retrograde. It's a time for you to go into yourself and look at affairs of the heart. So that could be your relationships externally, but use the force to look at your own self. You know, if we're going to be heading into a golden age, you need to change your whole perspective and your attitude towards yourself. So Venus retrograde is really going to help you do that. Okay. We've got Saturn still in retrograde. So lots of lessons going on, guys. Everything's going to feel like it's teaching you something. And it's in Aquarius. And so that's, you know, as I've said, it's all about your communities and groups, your socializing, what's going on in terms of your relationships, you know, with families and with friends and communities. Lots of lessons going on there. Uranus is going to go retrograde on the 29th of August. So when that happens, a lot of fire. There's already a lot of fire happening now, but let's see what happens on the 29th, because September is an even bigger month in terms of retrogrades. Neptune is still retrograde, and I've been through that. Pluto is retrograde, lots of transformation. It's very difficult to find anyone that's not being affected by Pluto retrograde at the moment. Lots of transformation going on, and a lot of people experiencing really difficulty with their own inner emotions. Any blocks are currently being brought to the surface. You can't avoid it. It's going to happen. So people are having a bit of a hard time with that. Go with the flow of the Pluto retrograde force. Enable transformation to happen. Enable the depths to come up and deal with it. If you keep pushing it down, it's going to get harder and harder, right? Don't avoid it. The only way to ride a Pluto retrograde is to go with it and realize that you have to transform. Okay, it's going to happen. Now, Chiron went retrograde on the 23rd of July, and it is going to stay retrograde all the way through to the end of the year. This is all about your wounds, and look at the wounded healer. You know, get on Google and find out all about Chiron if you need to. But it's all about what are your blocks, what are your wounds, what makes you sad, what makes life difficult for you. And this retrograde is adding to all the other retrogrades where you have to go in to what is hurting you, what has wounded you, what are your wounds, and then start blowing it out of the water. Okay, so a lot happening for the remainder of the year, guys. So go with it, go with the forces, and yeah, good luck with riding the waves. You can do it. Just there's a lot of good stuff going on. It's not, you know, even though with Pluto and Saturn doing their things, lots of lessons, lots of transformation. For some, it's really difficult. For others, they're having a great time. These forces are intense, but it's just what you were wanting. You've been waiting for this time. So it's not negative, guys. This is really positive. The Jupiter-Uranus is a fabulous set of forces. A lot of awakening, a lot of buoyancy, a lot of fun. You just have to choose to have that fun, okay? So guys, until next time, ride the waves and may the force be with you. Thank you very much for watching. Okay, bye for now.